now that we've created a table with our fields, we're ready to do one of our insert commands. And we saw how to do that earlier. Insert into subjects, and then the first field. Now, I'm not going to put in the ID field because the ID field is going to auto-increment for us. So we don't have to put anything in there. We could specify it, and it would override the auto-increment. But let's go ahead and let it do its auto-incrementing and just put in menu name, position, and visible. Those are the only ones that we need to worry about. Then we'll close our parentheses. I'm going to put a space. The space is going to be important. And hit return. And then values. And again, because I haven't typed a semicolon, it'll let me keep composing here. And then values, I'm going to make the first one be about widget corp. That's going to be my first menu item in my content management system, the first subject that we're going to work with. And I'm going to put a comma after that. It's a string in single quotes. Double quotes won't work. You have to use single quotes for MySQL. And then a space, and then I'm going to put in the position should be 1. It's an integer, so it doesn't need quotes. So it'll be my first menu item, and visible is going to be a Boolean yes, which is 1. I could also put in true, but I'm going to put it in as 1 or 0. And then close the parentheses, put in my semicolon, double check everything to make sure it all looks good. That is correct. That's a good insert statement. And then I'll hit return. So now I've inserted, it says 1 row affected. I've now inserted that information into the database. Let's try our read statement and see if we can read it back and see what it gave us. We can do select, and let's select everything from subjects. And let's just do that. I made a mistake. I forgot to type the full syntax. It's going to be select and asterisk from subjects. There we go. Now it comes back with a nicely formatted table showing us what's in that table. So we can see that there's columns, ID, menu name, position, and visible. And in the first row, we've got ID 1, About Widget Corp, Position 1, Visible 1. So now, hopefully, you're starting to see what's actually happening inside the database and how we're composing these rows. Let's go ahead and insert another row. I'm going to go ahead and type it a little faster, but I'm doing the exact same thing that I did up above. I'm going to put in menu name, position, visible, and I'm not going to type a return this time. I'm just going to keep going with values, and this one's going to be products. And then after products, and I close my quotes, I'll make this one position 2, visible yes, and put my semicolon. I'll double check it. It looks good. I'll hit return, and now I put a second one in there. Now I can actually hit the up arrow key on mine, and it will go back to previous statements that I've issued. So I've got my select asterisk from subjects with a semicolon after it, and I can do that again, and now I can see both rows that are there. I can also go back up twice till I get to my insert statement, and I can just edit my insert statement, which is a little faster than having to type it all again. And I'll make this one say services, and its position will be 3, also still visible. Okay, so there we go. We've now got a third row in there, and I can go up twice to do my select statement, and I can see those. And let's go ahead and put in one last one. I'll back up and make this one just be miscellaneous, and we're going to make it type 4, and let's make it not visible. Once again, 1 row affected, and when we go up twice, you'll see that now we have a 4th row in there. That's all there is to being able to insert records into a database and retrieve them. I did a very simple selection there, and you'll recall we actually had more to it. Let's try something a little more complex. Select all from subjects, and then I'll jump to a new line. Let's say where visible equals 1. Now notice with the where statement here, I'm using a single equals, not any kind of double equal comparison operator like we were using in PHP. So where visible equals 1, and then let's go ahead and say order by position ascending, ASC. So there we go with the semicolon at the end. I'll look it over, it all looks good. And we get back just the visible rows, and they are in ascending order. We can also hit the up arrow, and then I can change ASC to DESC, and you'll see we get them now in reverse order, 3, 2, 1. So we're able to pull the data that we want from the database in the order that we want, find exactly the records we want, all by issuing these MySQL statements. Let me also show you how you can find specific fields. Let's say that we didn't want all of that information. We might have a massive database that had lots of information there. We could say select ID, comma, menu name from subjects. Even though we're using visible in the where column and in the order column, we're only going to be returning the ID and the menu name. And you'll see now it builds a table that only has those fields there. So the asterisk will give us everything that's there. That's a good convenient shorthand just to grab the whole row. Or we could say we're only interested in certain columns. Let's go ahead and try our update command. So we have update subjects, and I'll go ahead and start a new row, set visible equal to 1, and I'll do that for where ID equals 4. That was my fourth one that I had made invisible before. One record changed, one row matched. It goes back and tells me. And now if I do select all from subjects, you'll see that I've updated the record and its visibility. And then the last thing is going to be to delete a record. And let's go ahead and delete that fourth one from subjects where ID equals 4. And that's easy enough. And now if we hit the up arrow twice, do select from subjects, and you'll see that the fourth one is now completely gone. We only have 3 items in our database. So the last thing I'll show you is that you just have to type quit, and then it will drop you out of MySQL. So now that we've covered the basics of MySQL and you have an understanding of what it is and what it can do, let's look at an easier way that you can do this, because it's a bit cumbersome to go in and do all of this typing from the command line every time. And luckily, there's a very popular, really good solution called PHP MyAdmin that'll make this process a whole lot easier.